solo. Solo on the beat. Solo. Solo on the beat. Solo.
All right. I hope you all can hear me, and welcome to the Figma to Code
Solo
workshop. So,
on the beat.
apologies on starting the stream a little bit delayed. There was a little bit of mix up on the scheduling, but we should all be good now. Yeah, okay. So, before we begin, I just want to ask the chat real quickly, how are y'all doing? How's everything going? Anyone's first VHW this week? And yeah. And while I wait for you all to type those, I'm going to give a quick introduction right after I lower the music. So let's do that real quick. Yeah, so for those that don't know who I am Ryan Lalu. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. I'm a Figma enjoyer, and I'm a D1 yapper. So you'll see me at events like Global Hack Week or in-person events all around the US, mostly East Coast and Central. For those that are trying to get the free swag, I'd recommend going to this link over here, and that's how you can sign in and earn the swag. I see a chat from Anish Kak JP showing the lettuce emojis. I love to see it, and I see that they are also a D5 yapper. That's amazing because I'm a D1 yapper, so we should talk after the stream. Talk about how much we love yapping. Yeah. So continuing on, we're going to be getting into the Figma to Code workshop. So if you're looking to create a hack very, very fast while designing with the intent of the user, this is the workshop for you. And luckily, you get this tool for free if you if you are a student and you sign up for the education account, which we'll cover in a bit. I see Green Eye 360K Creation saying hi. How's it going? And I see Quackers and Cheese saying hello as well. Nice to meet y'all. And I see, ooh, I'm so pumped. I'm a Figma simp right now, for real, for real. I love to see it. I am also a Figma simp. I love Figma for everything, and designing is so much fun. I see Totally Ritu say that they did the part yesterday. Yep. We host this workshop twice for people that can't make it during Fridays in case there's school conflicts or anything like that. So if you want to maybe solidify your foundations and if it was too fast yesterday, then this stream is for you. So let's go ahead and begin. So if you notice before we get started here, during the workshop we'll be covering 5 different things. I want to make sure y'all can see me. Can y'all see me well? Okay. It's kind of a small thing. I can't do my normal like hand gestures. Yeah, so 5 things we'll be doing in this workshop. We're going to be getting access to Figma Dev Mode, which includes the education account. We're going to be covering Figma fundamentals. Then we're going to learn how to work with Dev Mode. And then after that, we're going to build a quick project and bring it to life. So all 5 things right there. So saying that, let's go ahead and begin. So for those that are unfamiliar, you might be asking yourself, what is Figma? And before we get to that, quite simply put, Figma is a company with products that makes design accessible for all. It is their motto, and they really do stick true to it. Yeah, so there's 4 products that Figma has. The first and most popular one is Figma Design. So if you're looking to design something on a multiplayer canvas with your friends, you can use this free popular tool, and you can do just so much more than designing. But the main use cases are making websites, mobile apps, wireframes, or any other digital product. After that, we have FigJam. FigJam, think of it as an online multiplayer whiteboard. You can use this for any meetings to help with brainstorming, diagramming, planning. Think of it as literally an online whiteboard that you can access with your friends. You can use shapes, text, drawings, images, sticky notes, etc. Pretty much anything that you can think of to communicate visually with other people. And honestly, like from personal experience, I've used FigJam a lot during hackathons. So if you're also here for AI Hack Week, then this is a really good tool to communicate with your friends if they're not with you physically. Or actually, even if physically, it works really well too. Then after that, we have Figma Slides. So fun fact, this presentation is made in Figma Slides. And think of it as a Google Slides or a Microsoft PowerPoint equivalent, but online and easy to use, where you're able to think about the design and the message you're communicating versus the core content. So you get to access both facets with Figma Slides. That was kind of rambly, so I'll give it TLDR. Think of it as a slideshow that you can do a lot or focus a lot more on design with. So it's pretty cool. And lastly is Figma Dev Mode. Think of it as an online multiplayer developer assistant. It helps create really nice workflows between designers and developers, and it's a really nice way to turn designs to code. So saying all of that, we'll be using Figma Design and Dev Mode for this presentation today. Also going to shout out real quick. Oh, it just went up. Totally Redo saying I missed a lot yesterday and would like to learn a lot today. That is great to hear. Hopefully we'll cover a lot as well. So yeah, let's go ahead and begin with the basics. So you might be asking yourself, why should I learn Figma? And the answer is quite easily, it is the industry standard. Figma is the industry standard tool for designing products used by a vast majority of Fortune 500 startups. So if you want to use tools that you'll most likely use in the field if you're doing any type of design work or even design adjacent work, such as developing, learning Figma early is a great time to get ahead of the game. So there is a few places you can get started. The 3 most popular design kits that you can use to kickstart and bootstrap your project or product very fast is going to be the iOS and iPadOS kit by Apple, the Material 3 Design Kit by Google, or the Simple Design System, or SDS for short, by Figma. In short, these design kits will contain all of the basic components to create any type of application, wireframing, diagramming, anything of the sort, easily without having to create all of the components from scratch. So you can see an example of the iOS and iPadOS one by Apple here, the Material 3 Design by Google over here, and the SDS by Figma over here. So TLDR, you're able to create all of those, use all of those pre-built components pretty fast to create projects really, really fast. So you might be asking yourself, why shouldn't I use a tool like V0, Claude, Sonnet 3.7, Cursor, RuCode, etc., etc.? The answer is very simple. By using Figma, you focus way more on the intent and the messaging of your design versus just creating something very fast from a chat message. When these LLMs or these tools are building out your content, they just have what is limited to your prompt, but they don't actually have the vision as it builds it out of what you're trying to design for the user. So if you're building something for a user, you should be using Figma, as you're able to get a lot more, I guess, interfacing with the user if you design it versus having something else design it for you, if that makes sense. Yeah, and most teams in the real world will be using Figma to create designs. And on professional teams, once designs are ready, they're normally handed off to developers. And yeah, so learning it gives you a really, really marketable skill to use in the future. So where can you use Figma? You can use it pretty much anywhere because there's a web browser, there's a desktop and mobile app, and then there's a VS Code extension. So you can use it pretty much anywhere. You can use it on a Raspberry Pi. You can use it on your iPhone, on your iPad, on your Samsung smart fridge, maybe. If any of y'all have that, please try it and send a screenshot in the MLH Discord. It'd be funny to see it working there. And then you can also use it in VS Code. So if you're coding and want to open up some design files and open it up in dev mode, you can do that here. All right, so let's go ahead and get access to dev mode. So this is, for those that are familiar with the GitHub workshop that we host with MLH, you'll know that getting access to the GitHub Student Developer Pack takes some time. Luckily for you, Figma Dev Mode with the Figma Education Plan is really simple and should take 5 minutes or less. So if you want to go ahead and head over to mlh.link/Figma, you can go ahead and in 5 minutes or less, register yourself up for a education plan. Some things to note, you'll have to verify your attendance status. So you'll need to verify the institution either through a transcript, .edu email, and any other documentation that might be needed to help prove that you are a student. So yeah, I'll go ahead and give everybody here 5 minutes. If you have any other questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to drop a chat message and I'll read it out loud. But yeah, I'll go ahead and bump up the music and give everyone here 4 more minutes. All right, I see a message from Corin Mudro saying, "Hi, Ryan. Hi, Corin. Nice to meet you. And thank you for the comment."
Solo.
Hi, Corin. Nice to meet you as well, and thank you for the kind words. What's it called? If anyone is still working on getting the Figma education plan and you run into any issues, please feel free to let me know in chat and I can help you out. But we have 1 minute and 30 seconds left for this part.
Solo. On the beat.
All right, and with about 18 seconds left, I'll go ahead and conclude this section. So if you're able to get it, please let me know. If you already have it, let me know as well in chat. But besides that, if you're looking to get this later today or later in the future, you're always available to go to mlh.link/Figma. And that's where you can sign up for a Figma education plan. But without further ado, let's go ahead and continue to the Figma design basics. So if you're new to learning Figma, that is a-okay. I'll cover all of the basics of what you'll need to learn in order to at least get started with designing in Figma Dev Mode. Sorry, Figma Design. Oops. And later we'll cover Dev Mode. So the first and most important thing is there are 4 distinct and main regions in the Figma Design UI. You'll see on the left, left and right, we'll have some sidebars. In the bottom middle, we'll have a toolbar. And then in the center of the screen, we'll have an entire canvas. The canvas is where we'll interact with canvas elements. I see Green Eye 360K say they got verified. Love to see it. And congrats on getting verified. Hopefully you'll enjoy dev mode whenever we get to that in a few minutes. All right, so saying that the canvas or the background that you see here is the most important working area or the most important part of the UI, and it is your working area. There are 2 main actions that most people get confused with when trying to navigate and interact with the canvas, and that is how to pan around the canvas or zoom in and out. So if you are using a mouse, you're going to want to hold down space plus left click and drag around the canvas. So if you hold space and you left click around, that's left click and hold and move around, then you're able to pan around the canvas. If you're using a trackpad, you can slide with 2 fingers on your trackpad, and that's how you can pan on trackpad. If you are trying to zoom in and out, if you're using a mouse, you can scroll while holding Command or Control and then space. So if you hold those, you're able to zoom in and out. And then if you are on trackpad, you can pinch with 2 fingers in and out to zoom in and out. Next is the toolbar. This is arguably the second most important part of the Figma Design UI. So there are 4 main things that we need here. We're going to want to learn how to move, how to add a frame, how to create a shape, and then how to add text. You'll see that there's also a pen tool, a comment tool, action tool, and dev mode tool. We'll cover dev mode in a bit, but the actions pen and comment tool is a little bit out of the scope of this workshop, but I implore you all to go look it up and try using it. So next we have the left sidebar. So the left sidebar has 4 important things. It has the assets panel. That's if you're trying to import images or any type of other asset. We won't be using it during this workshop, but I want to let you know that it does exist right here if you do want to use it in the future. Then is the main menu, which is going to be this top section right here. This is how you can access functions, actions, and settings, anything related to the document. After that, we have a Pages tab. This Pages tab is where you'll have different pages for different canvases. Think of it as the different sheet functionality on the very bottom of Google Sheets or Excel, so you can create different sheets, which include different spreadsheets. In Figma, the equivalent is different pages that hold different canvases. So think of it like that a little bit. And then lastly, below it but not pictured here is the layers. The layers will contain all of the objects and elements in relation to each other, which is really important, which we'll show in a tiny bit. And lastly is the right sidebar. This is the most complicated part of the Figma UI, but there's 2 main tabs to know. This top tab right here, where it says design, is going to be the design tab, where you can view and edit design properties of any layer and any element. And then the right one is prototype. Prototypes are how you create interactions, flows, settings. Think of it as if you're trying to animate a bunch of different UI mocks together, so that if you click a button, it will send you to a new page. So prototype will be out of scope of this workshop, but I just want to let you know that it exists right here. And lastly, just want to let you know that if nothing is selected, you can then, if nothing is selected, then you'll be able to view local resources like colors and styles and text styles, stuff like that. And if a layer is selected, you can explore the properties of the selection. So on this left UI component right here, this left sidebar, you can see the properties of an element that is selected. So yeah, it's pretty complicated, but we'll cover some common elements, some common properties that we'll edit later. And if I'm talking too fast, please let me know. Sorry, trying to make sure I'm completing this workshop in a timely manner. So yeah, so there's so much more left to cover. So if you want, so much left to cover that we can't cover in this workshop. So if you want to learn more, please visit mlh.link/Figma resources. So let's go ahead and move on to the third section. Let's build a UI card project. So what we're going to do is in your canvas, what you can do is you can click the T button or click that T icon in your bottom home bar. And you can go ahead and just drag on your canvas or click and type in a title for the card we're going to create. After that, I've gone ahead and continued using my default fonts, which is Enter. And then I made a bold and I set the font weight to be 24 pixels. So after that, I am going to then click the R or click on the square, and I'm going to drag and create an entire rectangle. You can see the default color over here is just D9, D9, D9. You don't have to edit it, as we'll be replacing it with an image in a second. After that, we're going to add this text description. So I'm just going to drag and add a text box. And after that, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to click this icon right here, which stands for set height. It doesn't make too much sense in the way it's named, but basically think of it as instead of infinitely expanding to the right as you type. So this text box right here would move all the way to the right. It's able to give it a set width. That way it goes down instead. So instead of moving infinitely to the right, it will move infinitely down. After that, I've gone ahead and just set the font weight to be 16 right here, kept it regular, and all the other default settings. After that, we can click on the rectangle, and then under fill, it's kind of small here, but under fill, you can click on the color or image, whatever it says. You can click custom right here. And then the third icon right below it is the image icon. Click on that. And then you can click upload from computer. So when you click upload from computer, you can select an image. And after you click it, it will replace the rectangle with the image that you selected. Yeah, so that's a little bit complicated. I'll repeat it one more time. So you can select the rectangle. You can click under fill. It will be either a color or the word image. It should pop up with the custom tab. The third icon from the left is the image icon. Click that, and then click upload from computer. Then after that, select your image, and it should appear in that rectangle. All right, after that, we should have something that looks like this. So I have an entire card. Now it's time to group that all together so it is one uniform card. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select all these elements and I'm going to hit Option Command G on Mac or Control or Alt G on Windows. What this will do is create a frame. And we'll cover more about frames in a tiny bit, actually in the next slide. So once we do that, select the frame and then hit Shift A. This will turn the frame into an auto layout frame. So for more context on what this does, while everyone here is hitting that, a frame is similar, I guess you can think of it as a box. It's an Amazon box or a shipping box for any packages or items you have inside of it. In this Amazon box, if you were to describe to me or anybody else the position relative to of the items relative to each other inside of the box, it's going to be kind of hard. So what we use is something similar to Flexbox conventions, where we describe the horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment. I guess if you're thinking about it in 2D space, right? So if you have a box, you have that y-axis and you have the x-axis. What we can do is we can say essentially we want it in the top left, the top right, the bottom left, bottom right, middle left, middle right, top middle, bottom middle, or center, right? In Flexbox, we call the horizontal, we call it justification. And in Flexbox, we call the vertical component, we call that alignment. If you were to turn it into a column, you would just swap it. So the vertical then would be justification, and the horizontal will be called alignment. So if it's a row, the justification is on the horizontal axis. If it's a column, the justification is still on is now on the vertical axis. So you'll see a little bit of what that means later as we move to the next section of changing the alignment. But all layout does is it gives you the ability to allow for the relativity of it all. And you'll see the pros of it in a second, which will be really cool. So under auto layout, this is the confusing section. So I'll repeat it again. Over here, you see a 3x3 grid. This 3x3 grid is what I mentioned earlier of the horizontal alignment and the vertical alignment, letting you say if you want it in the middle left, middle right, top right, etc., etc. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set the width of this card to be 360 pixels. I'm going to set the height of the card to be hug. So think of it as it's going to constrict it to the elements. So instead of having it be a fixed width, it's going to just hug whatever's inside of it. So we have that. Then we have, we're going to set it to be center left. So this icon right here, that way it will move it to the far left part of the card. And we're going to set it to be a column. So the down arrow right here. So width 360, height is hug. The, what's it called? The flow of it is going to be vertical or the down arrow. And then we'll have the alignment be center left. After that, I'm going to, right under that arrow, it's going to be a padding, a gap. So the amount of space between elements, I'm going to set that to be 6 pixels. And then below that, we have the horizontal and vertical padding, these two right here. I'm going to set both of these to be 24 pixels. After that, I've gone ahead and gave it a border down here where it's a stroke. I gave it a 2 pixel wide stroke right here, made it black, and then made the stroke in the center. And lastly, under appearance, I'm giving it a border radius of around 16 pixels. So it's kind of complicated, but those are the settings. I'll go ahead and if we have some time at the end of the stream, I'll do it all again from scratch inside of Figma. Yeah, so after that, we should now have our UI card. So what we can do here is we can create a container in part 2. So we're going to just click the F key or this frame button, and we're going to drag and create a frame. This frame is going to mimic what our viewport looks like, or think of it as your browser window. And we're going to try to make a bunch of cards inside of it. So once we have that created, I'm going to go ahead and click Shift A to make this frame auto layout. Once I have that set as auto layout, I am going to make this a static width and a static height. So I just set it to 2 arbitrary dimensions. It doesn't really matter in this case. And I am going to make it a wrap. So earlier we did it. We did vertical. I don't know if you can see that. It's a down arrow. We want to instead use this arrow that looks like it's going left. This means that it's going to continue moving in a row until it reaches the end where there's no more space, and then it will go to the next row. So it's going to continue going through rows if we click that button. And after that, we can set it to be the top left alignment. That way it's going to start from the top left, and as we add more and more elements, once it reaches the end, it's going to go to the next row. After that, we're going to give it a gap of 32 pixels right here. And then we're going to give it a horizontal and vertical padding of 64. So what you can do now is you can select that card inside of your frame, and you can click Control-C, Control-V, and spam it a bunch of times, and you'll see it's going to start filling up that width, and once it reaches the end, it's going to move to the next row. If all is working, if you were to continue spamming this, you should see a card get cut off in the next row, but stay inside the viewport. So, ta-da! That is pretty much it. You now have a UI with a bunch of cards. So that is it for the creating the UI card section. Again, if we have some time, I'm going to do this from scratch with y'all, and we can work on it together. So let's move on to our fourth section, second from last, and that's going to be learning how dev mode works. So what we can do is we can go ahead and in this, clicking on this frame, we can click this tiny icon on the top right that looks like a developer icon. Think of the two angle brackets with a slash in the center. We can click that, and when we click that, we're essentially readying this component for development, or RFDing it. It's a concept in Figma that basically states that when a component is ready for a developer to implement, we can click that icon, and when a developer is inside of the dev mode view, they can view a list of everything ready to turn to code. So let's go ahead and swap from our designer hat and move on to our developer hat by clicking on this dev mode icon. You can either click on it or you can hit Shift D. Right. Now that you have the dev mode enabled, you should see this UI here. So this UI, it's a lot simpler than it was before, but there are two main parts to it. You have the left sidebar and the right sidebar. The left sidebar is how you interact with the different components that are ready for development. So you can see that we have our one component here ready for development. And you can go ahead and click through all the different layers and view all of the different stats on the right-hand side, the right sidebar, about that specific layer or frame or component. So we can see here on our topmost frame or our root element here, under code, we have a border box display of this element. So we can see that it has a 16 on each side padding, and it has a content area of 318 times 181 pixels. This is mostly just for us to know, but more importantly, we see some CSS for the styling and for the layouts. So we have the layouts CSS displayed right here, and the styles, and this is because we're set, or we have our dev mode set to a CSS CodeGen plugin, which is a default by Figma. So right now we can see that we're under code. If we wanted to view the properties in a code agnostic way, or just the stuff in English, we can switch that code drop down and make it properties. And here we'll have all of the layout information displayed to us in a way that doesn't have code. So it's good for people just trying to figure out what's happening here. But if we go back to the code section and we select that code mod, which said CSS earlier, we can see that there's so many different options for code mods. And this honestly is one of the best parts of Figma design mode, or dev mode, sorry. So there's a bunch of different options by default for CSS, iOS, and Android. So if you're looking to export it to a Kotlin app, to a Swift app, using Swift UI, using vanilla CSS, you have those. But most importantly, you are able to browse a community of CodeGen plugins. So we can see some defaults here, or I guess featured here, Anima, Figma to Code, and Loco-Fi Lightning. Those are some default community CodeGen plugins, but you're able to browse the vast other plugin community that Figma has. So we're actually going to use one of those Figma community CodeGens, and it's going to be right here, the Figma to Code or HTML, Tailwind, Flutter, etc. option. So selecting that, we can then select the Tailwind JSX option. This is to show that if you're writing a React app with Tailwind, you can convert it to that right here, which honestly is amazing for hackathon projects because it's one of the most common ways to develop them. But we're going to do something that's really easy to create right now, something that we can just copy and paste without having to create a React project. And that is by just copying, by sending it to just vanilla HTML code with inline styling. So the HTML CodeGen. So we can copy this code that it generates, and then we can create a new .html file, open that in a text editor, paste the code that we just received from this code gen, and then open it up in a browser. So doing that, you should receive this. So everyone should be able to see this. You might have an issue where it overflows, and that is a-okay. That's an easy fix of just setting it to a width. So just set the width to be like 100 VW or viewport width, and that should fix it. So it looks like we have 26 extra minutes in this stream, which is more than enough time to do it manually. So let's go ahead and start. What's it called? Let's go ahead and do this from scratch. So I'm gonna open up a Figma tab and I am going to create it with y'all. So give me 1 second. Gonna open up a tab real quick. And if you have any questions, feel free to drop them in chat. If I'm running a little too fast, please let me know. I just want to make sure everything is good here. Let's go ahead and make it this window right here. And y'all should see this. Awesome. Also, going to give a quick shout out. If you haven't already, don't forget to sign in right here for free swag. I'm going to just put that on the screen for a tiny bit. And yeah, without further ado, let's go ahead and start this workshop. So what I'm going to do is I am going to hit T. I'm going to click somewhere, and I'm going to give it a title. So I'm going to say my first hackathon win, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to reference back the slides. And we can see here that we set it to be bold with 24 font size. So 24, and we set it to bold. Right there. So on the right-hand side bar, I just selected it right here. So I'm gonna see if I can make the UI a little bit bigger for y'all. Okay, can. Hopefully y'all can see it though. So we have our title. The next thing we're gonna do is we are going to create a rectangle shape. And this will represent our image. So I'm gonna just drag and drop one by clicking the R key. And lastly, I'm pretty sure we create a description. So I'm clicking T, or the T icon on the toolbar. And I'm just dragging a quick description here. So yeah, I'm just gonna say blah, 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 and I'm gonna just copy paste that a few times. And I'm gonna edit the text to be regular and 16 font size. So regular, 16 font size. And I'm gonna set it to be where is it? Right here. I'm gonna set it to be auto height. That way I'm able to drag the width of it and match the size that I have currently. You can see here, just dragging it so it matches each other with the auto snap. Yeah, and then from here, I should be able to click on the image. I can go ahead after that and click on the color. So this right here, I'm gonna click on that square. I'm going under custom, I'm gonna click this image icon, and I'm gonna click upload from computer. And honestly, there's a new make an image. So I'm gonna say make an image of a Google or no, of a hackathon project website. So I'm gonna ask it to make that for me. And I'm pretty sure you get this feature for free with Figma Dev Mode, which, free with a Figma education account, which is pretty cool. I see Duck D says, how are you doing? I'm doing pretty good. Nice to meet you. And I see Totally Ritu dropping the mlh.link/Figma resources. Yes, there's a lot that I can't cover today. So if you want to see all of those and learn more, this is the link for you. Yeah, so we can see we have an AI-generated image of our first hackathon win. I'll just go ahead and keep that right there. And yeah, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a frame by selecting it all. And I think the hotkey for me is going to be Option Command G. So Option Command G. That turns it to frame. So in this file, it's frame 76 for me. And I click Shift A to turn it into auto layout. So we can see the auto layout settings that we'll need is a width of 360 and a height of hug. So we can see the height right now is going to be hug and a width of 360. All right. Now we want it to be a vertical or a column, and we want it to be aligned to the center left with a gap of 6. So gap of 6, it's already aligned downwards, and we're going to make it center middle. And after that, we're going to have a horizontal and a vertical padding of 24. Righty. And now what we can do is I'm going to make the appearance be, what's it called, 16 radius right there, and then we're going to give it a stroke of size 2 on the center. And just so that we don't see the background over here, I'm going to give it a fill of white. Actually, yeah, let's make it fill of white, and I'm going to change the text colors to be black. Yeah, there we go. We now have a UI card. Awesome. So let's go ahead, now that we've finished this first part here, let's go ahead and create a frame to just represent our UI. So I'm just going to drag and drop a quick and easy frame here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the frame, hit Shift A to make it auto layout, which should make it shrink again, but I'm just going to drag it out. Ooh, that's not good. I'm not going to make it hug, I'm going to make it fixed. I'm going to make it like 2000. Oh, that's 200. Or let's do like 12, what's it called? 1720 or 720 by 1080. 1080 by 720. I'm going to make this go back to 360 width, just so it's the same size, and I'll just go ahead and expand this. Yeah, there you go. Awesome. So it does some funky things. I just went back to the card and make it a fixed width of 360, and then I expanded this back out. Now, after we do that and set it to auto layout, which we've done right here, we can make this be or we can make this auto layout wrap, and then keep it on the top left, and give it a gap of 32 and paddings of 64. So the gap right here, 32, paddings of 64. Awesome. Now what I can do is I can finally, I can check clip content. You'll see why we do that in a second. And I'm going to take this card and I'm going to spam it a bunch. So we can see here that as we spam more, it's not going to overflow outside of this frame because we selected clip content. So this mimics essentially what our browser will see, or think of it as like your viewport. I see a question from Ducty. Says, glad you're doing okay, bro. I was beginning to think you just do these streams as a form of escape. I wish you all success you desire and that you reach the goals you dream of. Thanks, Ducties. I appreciate it. I hope the same is with you as well. I hope everything is good. So I see Green Eye says, I don't have an image generation option. It might not be available for everybody, but you should be able to select a local image on your computer. I'm not entirely sure how the provisioning of that is, or how it's provisioned. Yeah, so after that, we're able to then click on this component, so this icon right here, this really tiny icon, and mark it ready for development. And just like that, we finished part 2. Now let's move on to the dev mode basics. So I'm going to hit Shift D, or click Shift D on my keyboard, or that dev mode icon on your toolbar, and I can now see the dev mode UI. So you can see on the left side here, we have the components ready for development, which is just this. So if I select on any of these frames, you can see the right-hand sidebar update with the information about it. So I'm going to select the topmost frame, and we can see right here that under, I guess I can do code, I can select just normal CSS. We have the layout stylings, the layout CSS, the styling CSS, selection colors, and the assets. And if I go to, let's say, iOS, and I want to make it a Swift UI, we have the H stack over here. And if I want to view properties in a way that doesn't have any code, I can also change it from code to properties. So let's go back to code, and let's change from Swift UI, and let's use this open source, or this, I guess, public CodeGen plugin called Figma to Code, and I'm going to select HTML. So the reason, again, why I'm doing this is because I just want to have something I can copy and paste into a file and view on the browser. So I'm going to copy this right here. And what I'm going to do that y'all cannot see is I am going to, on my computer, just create a quick.html file. So let me just do that real quick. I'm going to name it, what's it called? ghwfigma.html. And then I am going to add it inside of it. I'm going to paste that code in, and then I am going to save it. Awesome. And now I should be able to open that up on my computer right here. Let's go ahead and drag it in. And yeah, just like that, we now have one second. We now have all of those cards displayed on the UI. So just like that, I was able to turn all of that design into code. And like, it's been 8 minutes. In 8 minutes, I was able to create this entire website that you can see right here in this HTML file from scratch. So simple, so nice, and you get those perks when you're using dev mode. So yeah, just like that, we have created an entire UI card project from scratch and expedited this, or sorry, and essentially expedited our workflow with dev mode. So saying all of that, that is pretty much everything we have in this workshop. I hope you all enjoyed it. We essentially designed a web mockup in Figma design and converted it to code with dev mode. So if you want to experiment further, you can try out the VS Code plugin. Or if you loved Figma design and you want to learn more, you can check out the Figma Learn or Figma Resource Center for more information. But besides that, if you want to tell me how we did, feel free to scan this QR code and let me know. But that is everything that I have for today. Just trying to make sure there's nothing else I'm forgetting here. Oops, sorry about that. Yeah, and if y'all would like to, feel free to catch us on the next stream, which is going to be in about 15 minutes with Jocelyn. It's going to be learning how to build your own fast API, API using fast API in ngrok for AI in Streamlit Part 1. It's going to be right here in 15 minutes. Would highly recommend it. Jocelyn is an amazing coach that knows a lot about AI. And honestly, this is a great time to learn tools that will expedite your hacker workflow and help you build stuff faster. So yeah, if there aren't any other questions, thank you all for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you next month on the next Figma workshop stream. But besides that, hope you all are doing well. Take care, and thank you. Bye bye.
Solo on the beat.